This is a video on combinations. So a combination is written in two different ways. You can see it as NCR or N and an R within the same parentheses, but kind of arranged vertically like so. This is actually most common seen in like binomial expansion from Pascal's triangle. So typically this is more common. So our couple examples here, we have 5C3 and 10C4. Let's just see how the formula works. So in the numerator we have n factorial. Let's take the 5 and put factorial. In the denominator we have n minus r. So that's 5 minus 3 in parentheses, factorial. And then the r again, so 3 factorial. Now, this is more complicated than your permutations formula, but it has a lot of similarities. Like, for example, we have 5 minus 3, so that's going to be 2 factorial, and then 3 factorial. And just like our permutations, we're going to have some stuff canceling out. And I always wait to this point to see how I'm going to write the numerator based on what I have in the denominator, and I want to try to cancel as much of that as I can. So I could cancel 2 factorial, but I'd rather cancel 3 factorial because it's a bigger number and it would be more reduced. So I'm going to cancel this 3 factorial with what would be 3 times 2 times 1 up top. So those are going to go away. And I'm going to have 5 times 4 divided by 2 times 1. And I could reduce that even more, or I could multiply the top and then divide by the bottom, 20 over 2, which gives me 10. On the next problem, 10C4. 10 factorial. 10 minus 4 factorial. 4 factorial. 10 factorial over 6 factorial and 4 factorial. So the top is going to simplify down to 10 times 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 factorial. And I'm going to just switch these because it's multiplication, and I can put the 6 factorial right under there. And saving myself a little bit of time, I'm going to write out what 4 factorial means. 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Now I can say, hey, these two pieces, 6 factorial, are going to cancel out. And I've got a little bit of math to do. I can continue to cancel. For example, I know 4 times 2 is going to cancel that 8 completely. So I'm just going to start a new line here, 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And it should work out that everything from the bottom will cancel with something from the top. So 4 times 2 will cancel the 8, because 8 is 8. And then 3 will cancel or reduce the 9 down to a 3. The bottom, I'm left with just a 1. Don't even need to worry about it. And I have 10 times 3. This became a 1, so I don't need that. So it's 30 times 7, or 210. And that would be my final answer for 10C4. And that's how the formula works. Now let's look at when we're going to use it. For a permutation, order matters. For a combination, order does not matter. Now, the timing of this video is kind of interesting, considering the example I'm using and the social distancing that people are practicing. And we won't be shaking hands with anyone, at least for a little while. But from a mathematical perspective, we can still work on this. Okay. The fact that we're shaking hands, when I shake hands with you and you shake hands with me, it doesn't matter. The order of person A and person B shaking hands, this counts as one handshake, so it's basically a duplicate. So I have, it's like a 2-for-1. So the order is not important. These end up being the same result. Okay, so how many ways are there? Of 30 people shaking hands, we're going to have the n value be 30. It's a combination because the order is not important, and it takes 2 to shake hands. So we have our values, and we're going to calculate our value here. So 30 factorial on the top, 30 minus 2 factorial, 2 factorial. 30 factorial over 28 factorial, 2 factorial. And hopefully you understand my little trick here of lining up the things that will cancel. I can cancel the 2, or I can cancel the 28 factorial. I will always go for the larger. So it's really 30 times 29 times 28 factorial over, changing the order of these, 2 factorial times 28 factorial, so that all of those just magically go away. We have 30 times 29 over 2 times 1. Again, reducing just a little bit more. 2 goes into 30 15 times. So I have 29 times 15. 29 times 15. 5, 4. 335 different ways or different handshakes will happen with 30 people. And that is combination. So essentially what's happening with that r factorial here is there are all kinds of groups that are going to double up.